Hey guys, so my name is Ben Turland. I'm a missionary with an organization called Catholic Christian Outreach. We work with university students. I'm originally from BC. These past 2 years I've worked at the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon, and starting in September I'm actually moving to Ontario, moving to Toronto to work at the University of Ryerson. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to go to this new city and have this new challenge. So I'm really excited that I can actually share my testimony with everybody, share how God has worked in my life with everybody here that is here at Fearless Faith. So it starts off with, I come from a non-Catholic family, a non-Christian family. There is zero faith in it. And growing up, I always thought there must be more to life. I got made fun of as a kid, and I just didn't like it. And in grade 4, I asked my parents, why don't we go to church? And they said, we're too busy. And so I accepted that as fact. And then I tried out other youth groups throughout my childhood, going with friends and family. Well, not family, just going with friends. And in grade 10, I got asked to go to a Catholic youth group. I went, and the youth group wasn't actually that good. But I met some people there that really showed me Christ's love. They just loved me for who I was. They didn't make fun of me like all my other friends had. And I started going to this youth group all the time. And then they asked me if I'd like to go to Mass, go to church, and I said sure. I didn't know when to sit, I didn't know when to stand, I didn't know what was going on, but I felt like I should be there. And the community was so warm and welcoming to me, I stayed. After about a few months going, I asked my priest if I could become Catholic. And we didn't have a rites of initiation for adults program, an RCIA program, so I actually went to his office every Wednesday and I used to ask questions. I asked everything that I thought was wrong with the church, everything I didn't understand what the church taught, and he proved it all and made it all true. And therefore, when I was in grade 11, my parents fully supported me, and I got baptized, First Communion, and Confirmation at the age of 17. And it was a blessing, the blessing of like I had to be very fearless in that, just to take that step to be very different than the rest of my entire family. And then, also in that year, I attended a NET retreat, National Evangelization Teams, and they travel around and do youth retreats all across the country. I went to a retreat and I loved it, and I had a friend approach me in my grade 12 year and ask, hey man, remember that NET retreat we went on? Do you want to do NET? Do you want to go and serve with NET for an entire year? And I said, yeah, sure, that seems like a great idea. Never done it. Never done anything like it, so yeah, I'll go for it. And I accepted, I got accepted, and I soon found out that I loved to share my faith. I loved sharing how God had worked in my life. I did a whole year of retreats, and decided I wanted to do a whole nother year. I signed up to do NET in Ireland, spent a whole year there, and just loved it. And when I was on NET, my friends told me this organization called Catholic Christian Outreach. I'd never heard of it, and so when I went back to school in Vancouver, I decided to get involved. A huge turning point came for me after being involved for a few years. I got to MC the annual Rise Up conference. It was about 400 university students that come from all over Canada from December 28th to January 1st, and I was blessed to be able to MC. And when I was there, I was able to see God working through everyone's experiences. They were sharing with me because they felt like they knew me because I was emceeing, that they could just be open and share everything that God was doing in their lives. And through their actions and through what they were saying, it truly touched me. After emceeing, I also decided I wanted to do a mission trip. I wanted to go to Uganda with CCO. The only issue was that I was actually engaged. I was engaged to a girl named Dana, and we'd been dating for over a year and a half, and I decided to go on this mission trip as my last hurrah. When I got to Uganda, Dana and I had very little contact, and we always had a bit of struggles in our relationship, and I always thought that the issues were me, and at times I just would say I don't feel free, and she said, what would that mean? And I didn't know what that meant at the time. And while in Uganda, I got asked, what's your mission as a couple? What are you guys supposed to do? And I didn't have an answer. And while I was in Uganda, and I was teaching these Ugandan university students how to be missionaries, how to share their faith, my missionary heart was growing. And I couldn't contain it. And I talked to one of the leaders, and he really spoke truth into my life and told me, you can't sacrifice your heart. You can sacrifice a lot of things, but you can't sacrifice your heart. And I realized that I felt very called to be a missionary with my life. And I knew that I wasn't called to be with my fiance. And so when I got back from Uganda, I flew home and I saw her, and we were hanging out for maybe about half a day. And the next day was our engagement party, and all of our friends were coming down for this engagement party, and it had been planned for a while, and we already had a wedding date picked. We'd already asked our wedding parties, we had a band picked, we had a venue picked, and I looked her in the eyes and I told her, I can't marry you. And I had to be strong in my faith and what the Lord was calling me to do in that moment. And I told her that we wouldn't be happy in 5 years. And it was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make in my entire life. And I had to be fearless in that. And it was hard, I broke down. It was really an emotional time in my life. And a few days after it, I did feel like a weight had been taken off my shoulders. I knew what I was doing was God's will. And I realized I basically broke up with her to be a missionary and to live my life fully and to have my heart set on fire for the Lord. And so I decided to apply for CCO staff, and I got accepted, and they moved me to Saskatchewan. And being a missionary, working with university students, has been one of the greatest joys of my entire life, and I never saw myself being here. I never saw myself doing that. But the Lord gave me freedom and fulfillment in what He called to do, and sometimes it was really scary. That was a really scary moment in my life, but the fruit that came of it and the joy that has come out of my life is 100-fold. And it's just been a great journey with the Lord, and I know it's going to continue on, and I just have to keep being fearless. I just have to keep going, and He will watch over me and He will comfort me. Thank you.